Welcome to Module 2, where we're going to dive deep into understanding car titles. Now, this might not sound like the most exciting topic, but I promise you, understanding these distinctions can literally save you thousands of dollars and protect you from making a costly mistake. By the end of this module, you'll know exactly what clean, salvage, and rebuilt titles mean, why these differences matter so much, and how the title system works in practice. Let's start with why this matters so much. Why title knowledge is critical. Here's the thing most people don't realize. The title is everything when it comes to a vehicle's legal status, insurability, and value. You can have two identical cars sitting side by side, same make, model, year, and condition, and one could be worth $15,000 more than the other simply because of what's written on the title. More importantly, buying the wrong title type can put you in serious legal and financial trouble. I've seen people accidentally buy salvage title cars thinking they were getting rebuilt cars, only to discover they can't register them, can't insure them, and can't even legally drive them. That's why we're spending an entire module on this topic. Clean title, the gold standard. Let's start with clean titles, which are the gold standard in the automotive world. A clean title means the vehicle has never been declared a total loss by an insurance company. It has no history of major damage, flooding, theft recovery, or other significant issues that would affect its title status. This doesn't mean the car has never been in an accident. Minor fender benders that were repaired don't affect title status. But it does mean that no insurance company has ever looked at this car and said the damage is so extensive that it's not worth repairing. Clean title cars command the highest prices in the market. They're the easiest to finance, the easiest to insure, and they hold their value best over time. When you see car values listed in resources like Kelley Blue Book or Edmunds, those values assume a clean title. Salvage title, the danger zone. Now, let's talk about salvage titles. This is where you need to pay very close attention. A salvage title is issued when an insurance company declares a vehicle a total loss, but the vehicle has not yet been repaired and re-inspected. This is the intermediate step I mentioned in Module 1. Here's what you absolutely must understand. In most states, salvage title vehicles cannot legally be registered or driven on public roads. They exist in a legal limbo where they can be sold for parts, exported, or repaired, but they cannot be used as normal vehicles. This is the danger zone because salvage title vehicles are often sold at much lower prices, and uninformed buyers might think they're getting a great deal. But unless you're planning to repair the vehicle yourself and go through the entire rebuilt title process, you're buying something you can't actually use. I want to emphasize this because it's such a common mistake. Never buy a salvage title vehicle unless you fully understand what you're getting into. The low price might seem attractive, but if you can't register it or insure it, it's essentially worthless as transportation. Rebuilt title, the sweet spot. This brings us to rebuilt titles, which represent the sweet spot for value-conscious buyers. A rebuilt title is issued after a salvage title vehicle has been repaired and passed a state inspection. This means the car has been brought back to roadworthy condition and can be legally registered, insured, and driven. The rebuilt title serves as permanent documentation of the vehicle's history. It tells you that, yes, this car was once severely damaged, but it has been properly repaired and inspected by the appropriate authorities. This transparency is actually a good thing. You know exactly what you're buying and you get the benefit of significant cost savings because of the title status. The title transformation process. Let me walk you through exactly how a car moves through these title statuses because understanding this process helps you evaluate what you're looking at. It starts with a clean title vehicle that suffers damage. Maybe it's in an accident, damaged by hail, stolen, or recovered. The owner files an insurance claim. The insurance company evaluates the damage and determines that the repair costs exceed a certain percentage of the vehicle's value, typically 70 to 75%, but this varies by state and insurance company. At this point, they declare it a total loss. The insurance company pays the owner the vehicle's actual cash value and takes possession of the car. The title is then changed to salvage status. Now, the insurance company typically sells the salvage vehicle at auction. The buyer might be an individual, a salvage yard, or a professional rebuilding company. If the buyer chooses to repair the vehicle, they must complete all the necessary work to bring it to safe, roadworthy condition. Then they apply for a rebuild title, which usually requires documentation of all the repairs performed, receipts for the parts used, and a state inspection to verify the vehicle meets safety standards. If everything checks out, the state issues a rebuild title, and the car can now be registered and driven legally. But the title will always show its rebuilt status. Who makes these determinations? It depends on the stage of the process. Insurance companies make the initial total loss determination based on their own criteria and state regulations. They're looking at repair costs versus the vehicle value, plus factors like safety and the extent of structural damage. State motor vehicle departments handle the rebuilt title process. They set the inspection standards, review repair documentation, and issue the new title. The specific requirements vary by state, but the basic process is similar everywhere. Some states require inspections by certified mechanics, while others have their own inspection facilities. Some require detailed photos of the repair process, while others focus more on the final result. This is why it's important to understand your state's specific requirements if you're considering buying a rebuilt car from out of state. State variations, Illinois example. Speaking of state variations, let me share my experience with the process in Illinois where I live. In Illinois, titling a rebuilt car is basically the same process as titling any other used car, with just a few additional steps. You need the rebuilt title from the seller, proof of insurance, and you pay the same registration fees. The state doesn't require any additional inspections once the car already has a rebuilt title. That inspection happened when the title was originally issued. So, from the buyer's perspective, it's straightforward. However, some states have different requirements. Some require annual inspections for rebuilt vehicles. Others have restrictions on where rebuilt cars can be registered or driven. Before you buy any rebuilt car, especially from out of state, make sure you understand your local requirements. A quick call to your state motor vehicle department can save you from an unpleasant surprise later. Title verification process. Now let me give you some practical advice on verifying title information. First, always insist on seeing the actual title document, not just a photo or a copy. The title should clearly indicate its status, clean, rebuilt, or salvage. Second, run a vehicle history report using the VIN number. Services like Carfax or AutoCheck will show you the vehicle's title history, including when it was declared a total loss and when it received a rebuilt title. Third, be aware that title washing is a real problem. This is when someone tries to move a vehicle through different states to hide its title history. A comprehensive vehicle history report can help you spot this. Fourth, if you have any doubts about a title's authenticity, contact the motor vehicle department in the state where the title was issued. They can verify whether the title is legitimate. Red flags to watch out for. Let me share some red flags that should make you walk away immediately. If someone is selling a car but doesn't have the title, or claims the title is in the mail or being processed, that's a major red flag. Don't buy any vehicle without seeing the actual title. If the title looks altered, damaged, or doesn't match the VIN on the vehicle, walk away. If the seller seems evasive about the vehicle's history or can't explain how they acquired it, that's also concerning. And if a deal seems too good to be true, like a nearly new car at a ridiculously low price, make sure you understand exactly what you're buying. It might be a salvage title vehicle that can't be legally driven. Practical implications. So what does all this mean for you as a buyer? It means you need to be very clear about what type of title you're looking at before you make any purchasing decisions. The price difference between a clean, rebuilt, and salvage title vehicle can be enormous, but so can the practical implications. If you're looking for maximum value and you're comfortable with the trade-offs, rebuilt title vehicles can be excellent choices. But make sure you understand your state's requirements and factor in any additional costs or complications. If you're considering a salvage title vehicle, make sure you understand exactly what's involved in the rebuilding process before you commit to anything. And if you want the simplest, most straightforward ownership experience, clean title vehicles are worth the premium you pay. What's coming next? In Module 3, we're going to dive into the economics of rebuilt cars. You'll learn exactly how much you can expect to save, why these savings exist, and how insurance considerations affect both your costs and your coverage. We'll also look at real data showing the price differences between clean and rebuilt title vehicles, so you can set realistic expectations for your own shopping. Wrap up. So to recap Module 2, clean titles are the gold standard with no history of major damage. Salvage titles are vehicles declared total losses that cannot be legally driven. Rebuilt titles are formerly salvaged vehicles that have been repaired and inspected, offering the best balance of value and usability. Understanding these distinctions is absolutely critical to making smart purchasing decisions and avoiding costly mistakes. So now, I'll see you in Module 3 where we dive into the economics of rebuilt car ownership.